Professor Pig is still on the loose. We have some questions about how you handle this sort of situation, and whether or not Gordon can accept outside help. But on the other side of the coin, the question of who is the real Batman comes up. And that is the very interesting question. Welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing Season 4, Episode 7 of Gotham, A Day in the Narrows. Now, the Narrows itself was invented, at least my understanding was for the movies, but it's a cool concept. The worst neighborhood in Gotham. Of course, the problem is that every neighborhood in Gotham is pretty bad. Anyway, there's a lot going on tonight, and a lot of stuff that I liked, and some things I didn't. Before we get into it, though, for those of you that don't know, what I do here is I review stories. I also come up with theories based on those stories, on how and why we tell them. In general, I'm just wasting a lot of time deconstructing stories. If that sounds interesting to you, join our little community by touching that little subscribe button and enabling alerts. I've been saying for a couple of episodes now, Race's shadow is still cast over the city, and oh boy was it ever. Now, I want to just talk in generality for a second. The question of who is the real Batman comes up a lot. Specifically because some people say, oh, Bruce is the real person and he puts on the cowl. Other people argue, no, Batman's the real person, the disguise he wears is Bruce. Right now, though, Bruce Wayne doesn't really exist yet, and neither does Batman. The real person is there, and he's trying to figure out both masks, because that's what I think they both are. They're both masks. The real person is the one who's sitting in the Batcave with the Batsuit on and the hood down, talking to Alfred, or talking to Clark, or talking to Diana, or even talking to Tim, or his son, or to Dick, or to Oracle. Because the real him is an amalgam of the two. The one who always has the anger issue just about to boil over. The one who stops himself. The one who feels responsible for everything. The one that didn't have a real childhood. The one who's so psychologically beat up that you almost can't recognize him as a human being. That's who we really got to see tonight. Bruce Wayne, Batman. But for now, let's throw up the spoiler warning and talk about specifics of the episode. So once again, it's stop. Spoiler time. So Professor Pig, with a Y, wants to make Gotham a better place. And the way he's going to do it is by killing corrupt cops. And the way that he's going to do that is by tricking them into an elaborate death trap. Because why? Well, because it's a Batman show. So, elaborate death trap and crazy, zany persona is what gets you somewhere in the show. It's a pretty straightforward plan, though. And the fact that Gordon didn't fall for it after everything that happened amazes me. Of course, Penguin's an idiot and Harvey is, well, Harvey. But I want to talk a minute about Penguin's plan. Specifically the allying with Gotham City PD and the way Bullock is willing to accept that help. I'd like to point out that cops do work with mafia. Cops do work with criminals. Cops work with hookers. They work with drug dealers. They're called snitches. Snitches get stitches, but they're called snitches. They're people that can go places that cops can't. They're people that can move in society where cops can't. And cops use them as informants, as helpers. We do it in the military, too. The military uses one set of bad guys to fight another. It's why we end up equipping our own enemies so many times in the real world. I also think Falcone said it best. If you tie your horse to the cops, you better hope they don't lose. Because if they do, you lose too. Now, of course, the same way this is going on, we have other things. Like, to be perfectly honest, we have what's the origin of Catwoman and the Gotham City Sirens. Specifically, I really loved the way Barbara showed up. I mean, you kind of had to figure she was going to show up in the end. But I liked the whole, I just killed 4 people for you. Did you order Thai? No? Good, because I don't have any. Bang. It's all pretty cool. I was expecting a little more in the way of what her connection to Ra's was and what that energy was that he passed to her. And, I don't know, it's kind of cool. But I'm still curious to see where it all works out. Of course, we didn't get much in the way of Selina and Bruce working together. We do get the idea of how well they would work together. And like I said at the beginning, we got the beginning of what is proto-Batman and proto-Bruce Wayne. Because in my opinion, the real Bruce is the one we saw at the beginning of the episode, the one who fantasized about punching out the asshole again. But the Bruce Wayne he wants to be, the one he wants to portray, is the spoiled brat, the one who can go to the party and dance with the girl, because that's the one that no one notices, no one suspects. So, in order to become Batman, first he has to become that Bruce Wayne, and buying the club out tonight pretty much did it. I mean, now he has an in, the in crowd, and of course he already has the suit, well, the proto-suit, and that is how you build towards Batman. But, at the same time, we still have the Professor Pig story going around, and I'm curious to see if Bruce will get involved in that. I don't think so. I think that's mostly a Gordon story. And what can I say about action hero Gordon at the end tonight? I especially love how he solved the problem and even went back for Headhunter, because, as we saw, going back for someone that maybe you aren't that friends with might be a theme of tonight's episode. The idea that sometimes you have to work with someone, sometimes you trust someone. Barbara and the girls, Falcone and Penguin, and of course, then there's Bruce and his new group of friends. For those of you that don't know, Tommy Elliot, the boy, was Bruce's best friend as a kid, grew up to be Hush, a villain that put together a list of villains working together to take him down. So, this'll be interesting, to say the least. Now, having said that, we didn't learn anything about that energy within Barbara that Ra's put there. So I'm still calling this an interesting mystery, and I'm still saying his shadow is cast across the city. But those are my thoughts. What are yours? Do you think that Bruce is going to go down the way of alcoholism? Do you think he's going to have to fight his own inner demons to get out of this? Or do you think it's all a show, or somewhere in between? For now, if you liked what I had to say, hit that thumbs up button and of course share this on Facebook and Twitter. And if this is your first time here, join us. Hit the subscribe button, enable alerts, leave a comment, and let's all work together to try to figure out the hows and whys of these stories. Gotham's an interesting one, a dark one, and a look into one of my favorite characters, the Batman. What about you? For now, I'd like to thank you for walking with me through the heart of the stories we tell.